Howdy, howdy. We're going to look at page 85 if you need some help. I would look carefully and read through this part up here. It kind of shows how to find an equivalent fraction by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by the same number. If you multiply them by the same number, it's changing the numbers, but it still equals the same. This would be like if you had, let's show you. If you had a pizza that was cut in half, right? We have 1/2 of a pizza. Let's pretend we multiply the half of a pizza by 2. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 2. And when we do that, we're just cutting this into 2 pieces. So we cut this first half into 2 pieces and this second half into 2 pieces. And it gives us an equivalent fraction. If we multiply 1 times 2, we get 2. If we multiply 2 times 2, we get 4. It shows us that 2/4 is equal to 1/2. So it still doesn't change the value when we multiply the top and the bottom. It just gives us a different fraction that equals the same thing. It's equivalent. So you've got problems today on this page that look like this. It says 2/5 equals blank. And then there's a number here in the circle. It says to multiply the fraction by the number in the circle. So for this first one that I've written here, this is not one that's on your paper, pretty sure. It says 2/5 equals, and we're going to multiply by 3. So I'm going to multiply the top times 3 and the bottom times 3. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and then 5 times 3 equals 15. So 6/15 is the same as 2/5. Those are equivalent fractions. And do the same thing over here. 1/7 multiplying by 4 times 4 times 4. 1 times 4 equals 4. 7 times 4 equals 28. And so knowing your multiplication facts really helps solving problems like this. So 4/28 is equivalent to 1/7. All right, so that's sort of what we're looking for there. And then there's a second set of problems at the bottom that says use multiplication to find each equivalent fraction. So in these problems, you just kind of have to see how they got from 3 to 9. Or in other words, what times 3 equals 9? Of course, we all know that 3 times 3 is 9, which means you could write that 3 times 3 is 9, and then you do the same thing up top. So if 3 times 3 is 9, then 2 times 3 is 6. So that gives us 2/3, which is equivalent to 6/9. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a picture that goes with that one just because I think it's kind of useful. So if we have 2/3, it sort of looks like this, right? 2/3. We're going to multiply it by 3. So that means each of these pieces I'm going to change into 3. 2 lines makes 3 pieces. 2 more lines makes 3 pieces out of that 1 piece. And then that makes 3 pieces as well. So when I multiply by 3, that's what I'm doing, is changing each of those pieces into 3. So now if we just count the pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's where this 6 comes from. And then if I added 3 more, 6 plus 3 is 9, that's where the 9 comes from, is all of those pieces. So you can see that's kind of how those work. All right, this last one that I'm going to do is a practice. 1/4 equals 6 somethingths. Somethingths? I don't know if that's even a word. But this one's kind of easy because we know to get from 1 to 6 using multiplication, we multiply by 6. 1 times 6 is 6. So then we do 4 times 6. That equals 24. So 1/4 equals 6/24. All right. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, let me know.